Welcome to this month's monthly membership, or shall I say member meetup for the Myrtle Beach chapter of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. My name is Javon. I am your chapter president. And tonight we will be talking about how to set your small business up for financial success with Megan Hernandez. And I am super excited. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and just introduce our leadership team. We have Leah DeLuzio, who is your vice president. She is with her Sacred Circle event company. We have Katrina Owen. Oh, I didn't change that picture. Oops. Who is our member ambassador. We have Miss Ivy Long, who is our public relations representative. And Megan Hernandez with Tax Savvy Bros. So tonight, we are going to have our welcome and introductions. I'm gonna allow the members to introduce themselves first, share a little bit about what they do, who they are, and how you can find them. And then if we have any guests on the line, they're going to introduce themselves. And then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes, which is why we are all here, to talk about how to set your small business up for financial success. At the end, I'm going to open it up for any announcements that we have for the chapter, as well as any announcements that you may want to share with the group about any upcoming offerings or events. And then we are going to close it out. After this meeting is over, you will get any notes and PowerPoints that are available. So definitely be on the lookout for that. So at this time, I want to go ahead and allow the members to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about who they are and what company they have and how they can, the gift and the offering that they share with the world. I'm just gonna go first.
I can go first. I'm going to tell you guys more about me in a minute.
Absolutely.
Oh, lost audio. So maybe somebody else is talking right now. I don't know if I can hear.
Nope, I hear you fine.
Okay. Well, that's good because y'all are going to need to hear me in a minute. I'm a tax accountant, and I'll be explaining in a minute why I am in your group and why I consider myself a holistic business owner as well. So I'll be talking more about that in a little bit with my training. But I do taxes, bookkeeping, accounting, pretty much all business finance stuff and personal finance stuff. We do payroll, invoicing, bill pay, contractor pay, sales tax, all that fun stuff at my firm. And I am local to Myrtle Beach. I've been here since 2016, summer of 2016. And I'm just really excited to be part of this chapter and get to know all of you guys.
Awesome, awesome. Jacqueline?
Well, I will go ahead and go.
Okay.
This is Katrina Owen. I am Katrina Owen, and I am so happy to be here. So I am the owner of Reconnect All with Energy Healing. My studio is located at the Hammock Shop, Old Magic Ways, Pawleys Island, South Carolina. And I am just overall able to relax, release, and renew your mind, body, and spirit.
Good stuff. Leah, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I lost audio for a minute, so I wasn't sure of direction. So I was just hoping I would catch on. Well, audio pops back on. I was like, what are we doing? Hi, I am Leah DeLuzio, and I am the owner and founder of Her Sacred Circle event company. I'm a women's circle facilitator, ceremonialist, and event creatrix, and I focus on women's events. So everything from circles to workshops to retreats to virtual immersions and one-to-one containers. And I'm on a mission to reawaken sisterhood and to help reconnect women with the sacred feminine that swirls within. And that's me. Happy to be here.
Yes. Janine, are you still with us? Any other members want to introduce themselves before we move on to our guests that are on the line?
Hi, I'm Jackie Lee. I am a local massage therapist. So I'm local to Myrtle Beach, and I own Choma Sage Massage Therapy. Recently, I became an expert elite sports massage therapist, and I work mostly with working with clients who haven't been able to participate in activities that they usually do. So we work on range of motion and mobility issues to get you back to living your best life. Whether that's just being able to work without pain or participate in half or whole marathons. So I'd be happy to assist anybody with their needs to get back into the activities that they enjoy doing that they haven't been able to enjoy because of pain or impingements.
Awesome, awesome. At this time, I think that we do have a present who would like to introduce herself.
Hello, friends. I don't know if everybody can hear me because my sound was going in and out. But I am Janine. I am the owner and lead photographer of Lovejoy Studios. We offer mindful photography experiences for lifestyle sessions, family, all that good stuff. And then also I love doing branding. So for small businesses, corporate, all the things, we offer mindful experiences for that. And then we also do business wellness coaching and yoga. So that is us.
Awesome. My apologies, Janine. I called you earlier. I don't know if you were having audio issues. Vanessa,
Okay, I'm going to try this. Can you hear me? Okay. I was trying before and I was like, I guess I don't have a microphone hooked up or something. I'm a whole mess today. My name is Vanessa Perry. I am the owner operator of Serona Life Management. I'm the only person who works for Serona Life Management, so it's kind of just me. I actually recently let go of my my official license so that I could jump wholly into holistic without any of that red tape. So it's a little scary, but very exciting. So yeah, intuitive holistic counseling is, officially what I do. I tap into my intuitive abilities to lead people to their, their hidden issues so that we can start touching in on that, and also bring in all of that holistic stuff that kind of people don't really like to talk about in the regular psychology stuff. So we get to talk about all that energy work and all that. And it's very exciting, and a big step in the right direction, I think, for me. So I'm excited to be here and also learn tonight about how that's going to change with the changes for me, how it will change financially.
Awesome, awesome. First of all, let me just take a moment to say congratulations, kudos. I am celebrating you for making that decision. I know that it's probably very scary, but you totally got this. So congratulations to you. Okay, Marie Hall, would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm in the Eventbrite part and I can't see anything or do anything, so I was gonna log out and log back in. But anyway, I'll introduce myself because I was having a hard time hearing too. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we hear you fine. That's weird. I'm not sure what's going on with that one. But yes,
So
we can hear
you
you.
can't hear me either.
No, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I was like, because it's like, anyway, I think it's because, anyway, I'm Marie Hall and I'm with Mindful Journey Academy, and we are a Waldorf inspired, still deciding whether it's going to be a school or not, We do, just because of all the crazy stuff that happens with that, I am more holistic, and like we want healthy food. That's what we do right now. Currently have 17 students, and ages 3 to age 16 right now. And today we just signed a contract for land, and so that's exciting. And Waldorf inspires a lot of hands-on experiences, lots of I would say mindfulness, connection, meeting the child where they are, and then helping them to do things that are developmentally appropriate. So anyway, I want to log out and come back in, because I can't see anything or hear much of anything either. So
if you're on Facebook, either myself or Katrina can send you like the direct link to get in through Zoom to see if that helps.
I can do that. I can do
Okay. So I am Javon Frazier on Facebook, or either Katrina Owen. Or if you know any of the members that are in the group, I will send it out and then we'll get that to you so that you can get logged in, okay?
I heard okay. So okay. I'm just gonna hang up and I'll try to come back in. I thought there was a Zoom link, maybe. It's only in Eventbrite. There is a Zoom link. Okay, I can do Zoom because I never have a problem with that one. The Eventbrite one is like really odd. So I'm gonna log out and try to find that one. And Leah, you know me, maybe you can send me the link.
Yeah, I'll do that right now. I'm going to send it to you in Facebook Messenger.
Thank you. All right, bye.
Oh, Lord. That's weird. Okay. So we put it on top. Yay, gotta love technology. All right, so I want to go ahead and introduce our speaker so that we can get started, so that she can have as much time as she needs to share all of the amazing information. Megan Hernandez is a tax accountant and financial educator. She's a mom of 2, Nico and Mila, and very thankful to have her own business that allows her to schedule her work around family time. She started her business in mid-2018 as a way to stay home with her son, but quickly realized how much she loves serving others. Almost 4 years later, Megan has worked with over 600 small business owners. She brings her decade of corporate accounting experience along with her heart and soul into her work with every single person. And so without further ado, I am going to switch it over to Megan. Hold on.
Okay. I was expecting like this big announcement to say I was a host, but it was tiny up in the corner, but I saw it. So good. So I think that we're ready to dive in. Thank you guys so much for coming. I know that that is a huge sacrifice out of your day and your time to come and listen to what I have to say. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And then I'm going to have somebody make sure that you can actually see my screen. Okay, so somebody in the chat could just tell me if you can see my screen. I got my slideshow pulled up. Okay, cool. So this is how I usually like to do it when I do, and I'm gonna approve people to come in, cool. This is how I usually like to do it with questions. So as I'm going through, I'm not gonna look over to the chat. I'm just gonna go through my whole spiel. So every question that you have that pops up, go ahead and put it in the chat. And because I don't want you to forget any of your questions. And then once I finish, I'll go back and can answer questions, or we can do it however you'd like to do it, Javon. But I promise it will throw me off if I try to like go back and forth in the chat. So y'all go ahead and, put any questions you have there. Don't worry about if it's something that I might answer later. I am talking about a couple of different topics. So chances are I'm probably not going to circle back and cover it in the training. And it's probably a great question. So don't feel bad about that. Okay, and like Javon said, I'm talking about how to set up your small business for financial success. And the bonus points of that is that not only are you going to be set up for growth in all areas of the business, but I'm also going to talk about how to make more profit specifically, which is kind of like the extra cash that's not owed to anybody else. It's not even owed to you. Like you could choose to put it in your pocket, or you could choose to keep it in the business. That's called the profit, and how to pay less taxes. So obviously, we're not going to solve all the world's problems with business finance in 1 hour, but I am going to touch on all of this stuff to make sure that you're aware of like where to start, what you may want some additional training on, what you may want some more help on in your business, what you're ready for, what you can look at next. So like you can decide all that stuff for yourself, but this is at least going to tell you some starting steps. And I do have it ordered in that way as well. So like if you were brand new, day one of your business, these are kind of like the step-by-step stuff of what we would go through. Or if you're in year 5, it's not too late. You can always, go back and get stuff in place as well. So let's go ahead and let me move your faces over here. All right, so what specifically are we going to learn today? We're going to talk quite a bit about business entities. And the reason for that is, yes, that's a legal matter, but it's actually the very first and kind of the groundwork of what you need to know and be aware of before you start any of your bookkeeping, before you start preparing for tax season, before you start making decisions in your business. You have to have that set up and figured out. So all the business entities that you might have and you might choose to have later, separation of funds, why that's important. We're going to be talking about tracking your data, why, how, and just some like little tidbits of information about, tracking all of your money coming in and out. I'm going to actually teach you guys a couple of bookkeeping skills today on the training. So that's a little bonus that you get to stick in your pocket there. And we're also going to talk about how taxes work. And you may say, I have absolutely no interest in learning anything about how taxes work. I just want to hand it over to somebody and then do it for me. That's cool. And I would love for you to hand it over and have a professional do it for you. But the more that you understand about your business, how it's set up, and how the taxes for your business work, the more savings you're going to get overall, and the further along you're going to be. Okay. We're also going to talk about how to save the tax dollars. That is probably some people's number one. So we're definitely going to talk about that. How to stay in compliance. So this is another big concern, especially with your industry, because you are very passionate about your clients, your customers, what you do. And so you want to serve your clients. You're not wanting to go over here and look at the administrative stuff and the financial stuff. So if you're over here serving your clients, it's probably going to creep up in your mind every once in a while, like, am I following the rules? Am I even doing this right? So we're going to talk about how to make sure that you're staying in compliance with state and federal rules, and then how to set yourself up for the future growth and success. Now, I could do full trainings on every single one of these topics. So again, we're just touching on them. So don't feel like you need to be a complete expert in anything after we've gone over it today. So don't feel stressed or, anything like that. I just want to give you some of the basics and kind of a starting point in all of these things. So let's start with business entities. So this really should be determined in the beginning stages of having your business. Like when you first have the thought, I want to start, I want to open a store. I want to open a storefront. I want to work with clients. I want to, maybe you don't think of yourself as a business owner. Maybe starting out, you're like, well, I'm a freelancer. I'm a, contractor. I'm a 1099 worker. But it all boils down to that you are a business owner. So the very first things that really, before you get the client, before you start making money, before you start spending any money, you really should determine your business entity. Again, if you haven't, if you're still at the point where you're wanting to change it or you need to figure it out, totally fine. But in an ideal world, it would be the first step. It's never too late to put it in place. And it's your choice of what you want to be. You can get guidance. You can look at, the pros and cons of different types, but it should be what you're comfortable with. Don't let anybody try to convince you that you need to set up a corporation if you're in the beginning stages and you're not comfortable setting up a corporation with all the rules and requirements and everything. It's your choice, because ultimately you're the one that is in charge of your business. So you can get advice, but always make sure you're comfortable with the choice you choose there. So we're going to start with the business type. And when we're talking about business entities, it's going to kind of move over to tax entities too, but I'm going to start with the business entities. And I'm getting a little bit technical here just because this is the starting point and this is what determines all the other stuff. So here are your choices that you're typically going to see: sole proprietorship, single member LLC, multiple member LLC or partnership, and a corporation. So sole proprietorship is what you are by default. If you don't register with the state, if you don't get a business license, if you just start working with clients, invoicing, getting payments, doing your work and nothing else, you're a sole proprietor by default. So you do have a business and you do have some responsibilities, come tax time. That's not to say that you shouldn't register the business if you want to keep it a sole proprietorship. You do need to register, and you do still need to get a business license in the state of South Carolina. And then, of course, if you're selling products and a lot of other specific service types, you might need to look into sales tax, use tax, different things like that. But this is talking about just income tax in mind. So that's the basic one, sole proprietorship. A single member LLC is a very popular one. It's what a lot of people do pretty close to the beginning, because it is what starts to create some separation between the business and the personal side for legal purposes. So it starts to create some protection for your personal assets if your business started to lose money, or if your business got in trouble, or you got sued, or something like that. Same token, it protects your business if something happens on the personal side. If you, on the personal side went bankrupt, or, negative scenarios in your mind, but your business would be protected. That's the purpose of getting the LLC. It is strictly for legal purposes, because for tax purposes, a sole proprietorship and a single member LLC are seen the exact same way. So I'll repeat that. Sole proprietorship, single member LLC for tax purposes are seen the exact same way. They're treated the same. You file your taxes the same. You go through the same steps. It's just on the legal side. The single member LLC creates some protection. Now, this is something really important that a lot of people overlook. Multiple member LLC or partnerships. At the state level, you're choosing whether you have the LLC or not. The state doesn't care if you add on like your spouse, or if you add on a sibling or another partner. You're still looking at the LLC on the state side. But in the IRS's eyes, if you add on even one additional person onto your LLC, it makes it a partnership, which is a completely different type of business for tax purposes. You do the bookkeeping differently, you file the taxes differently. There are different rules set up, different filings, everything. So if you have your spouse, or again, sibling, friend, just parent, somebody as a backup, but you didn't really intend for them to run the business with you, you just thought you would tack them on as maybe an additional officer or an additional person on there, kind of like some people do with a loan, or like if they're signing a lease, they add on an extra person. But if you do that with the business entity, it changes a lot of stuff. So keep that in mind. Now, that's not to say there's anything wrong with an LLC, a multiple member LLC, if you intend to have a partner. So just keep that in mind, that things are very different for you if you have that extra person. And then the other thing that is often not so much common with smaller businesses, but there are tax benefits to going ahead and opening a corporation. And it could be with certain licensing that you may need to have, that you need to get. It may be, in certain states, it's cheaper It may be cheaper for certain business types to get a corporation instead of an LLC, but in South Carolina, you're not going to really look at corporation until you're making at least $500,000, you know, or if you're in an industry that would be important to do. And that's something that you would want to talk directly to your tax person about, and y'all decide that together. So those are the different business types. And again, any questions that you guys have, go ahead and put them in the chat. I'm going to go through my slideshow, go through my whole spiel here, and then I'll answer all the questions at the end. But go ahead and pop them in there as you think of stuff. Okay, so legal benefits versus tax benefits. I talked about that a little bit. There is no tax benefit whatsoever from going from a sole proprietorship to a single member LLC. They're seen the same for tax purposes. They have no different tax benefits. The IRS sees them as a disregarded entity. You may have heard that. You're going to file a Schedule C for either one. The legal benefits are what come into place for having that LLC in place. It's not necessarily better tax-wise either to add a partner. It is going to just be, it's just going to be very personal to your situation and the revenue level that you're at in your business too. These are definitely decisions that you have to make with someone that knows your situation. So, you know, I'm teaching you kind of an overview guidelines, stuff like that, but you would definitely want to give more information about your business before deciding the best course of action. And then a corporation, it has the best legal benefits. It creates the most separation between the business and personal, but it does add quite a bit of taxes. The business is taxed by itself. The person is taxed by themselves. It creates that, you know, duplicate taxation. There are a lot of legal requirements that you have to follow. So you have to weigh the pros and cons there too. Is the benefit that I'm going to receive on the tax side worth the trouble that it's going to be to file all the forms and go through all the paperwork? So that's a little bit of information on business entities. Okay. So any questions you have on business entities, pop them in the chat. I am going to touch on them again in a minute when I talk about taxes, but not really breaking them down into the specific different types of business entities. Separation of funds. So once you decide how you're setting your business up and you get that registered. So again, even if you're the sole proprietor, you need to go ahead and register with the state. You register your business name, you tell them what kind of business entity it is, you figure out if you need different tax that you qualify or that you are, my words are leaving me, qualify for, get to. Those are the words I'm thinking of. If you get to pay sales tax, you have to go ahead and set all that kind of stuff up. And the next thing you want to do is set up your bank account. So you need a separate bank account for your business. How? Okay, so the first thing, how? This means an actual separate bank account. It could be at the same bank. It can be a second checking account, or checking account. Savings accounts are more difficult because you can't really get a card for it, but it can be a separate checking account. You can get a credit card for the business. It needs to be a business bank account. It shouldn't just be another personal bank account. And that's a rule of the bank. Okay, that's a more of a legal rule. And the reason is because if you were to get in legal trouble, and let's say you were in court and you needed to present all of your financials and you needed to show, hey, I have an LLC. I have separation between personal and business. So, you know, my personal is protected. It doesn't matter that my business got sued for XYZ. My personal should be protected. And they'll say, oh, well, you have a personal checking account set up and you're mixing funds. So you're not really acting like it's a separate thing. So they want you to completely separate it from your personal life. So you need to have that complete separate account in the business bank account. Why? Well, I talked about that. So for legal purposes, on the tax side, it's easier if you were to wait till the end of the year and you need to get all of your stuff together, it's easier to pull up bank statements from one bank account and trust that all of that data is going to be included. It's much more difficult to pull up a bank statement that is mixing business and personal and go through line by line and highlight what's for business. I mean, that's what we end up doing for several clients that are mixing their funds. We have them go through month by month and just highlight what's for business. And oftentimes things get missed. Things that could have and should have been counted as a business deduction will be missed because they just have it all mixed together there. Okay, so reasons it's best practice on top of just the legal and tax stuff, because no missed deductions. So you want to make sure that all of your stuff is in one bank account and that everything is flowing through. And this is the only way really that you'll be able to use like an accounting system that we'll talk about it in a minute. An actual bookkeeping accounting system like QuickBooks, Wave, Financial, Zero, some others out there. And I will give you my opinion on different ones, but FreshBooks, QuickBooks Self-Employed, and.co, Dubsado, HoneyBooks, they're not really accounting systems, but some people use it a little bit to keep track of expenses. You're not able to track everything in any of those systems if your money is coming in and out of like mixed in with personal or multiple places. And so you're not going to be able to catch all the deductions and you're not going to be able to reconcile. And so this is where one of the compliance pieces comes into play. If you do not reconcile, which I'll go into more detail in a minute, then you can't verify that your numbers are accurate. And if you can't verify with 100% certainty that your numbers are accurate, then you don't know if you're in compliance. If you pass off your information for tax season and it has all these numbers and all these different places, your income, expenses, whatever, and you have not like double, triple checked that those numbers match your bank statement, that those numbers match what you actually received from PayPal, Stripe, Shopify, Square, stuff like that, then it's kind of a guessing game. You can't just trust one system. As we all know with tech, everything involves tech, online banking, accounting systems. You would love for things to just run seamlessly in the background and be able to trust it 100%. You can't. It involves eyes as well. It involves a human. And you have to be able to say, this is the correct information, because you're about to send that to the state and the IRS. So you want to be able to say, yes, that I'm 100% confident that that's accurate. Because unfortunately, sometimes they come back in the form of an audit and they ask you to prove it. And so you have to be able to reconcile. You can't reconcile unless you have your own bank account with the business funds. So it all works together forwards and backwards there. And then for financial planning, if you have everything mixed with the business and personal, you're not going to be able to plan for upcoming expenses in the business, or maybe you're going to have a big launch of a product or a course in a couple of months, or you have an event coming up. You need to be able to plan for that. That is where you're going to be able to see the additional profit. When you have all this groundwork laid and you're doing things all in the right way and you trust that all your data is there and accurate, then you're going to be able to plan. And once you set these lofty goals, you'll be able to put real numbers in place to help you reach them. So all of this plays together for planning for the future. Let me take a quick sip of water. All right, tracking your data. So this is the number one most important basic bookkeeping task that I do for clients, and it's the most important. So why do you need a tracking or bookkeeping system? So the reason that I say that you need an actual system instead of just Excel or your notes or just bank statements is because I said it on the other slide, because it helps with tax tax planning and financial planning, because you're able to see everything in one place and be able to reconcile and make sure that it's accurate. And when money is coming in and out of your business, it's not all for the same reasons. So if you have money coming into your business because you had to borrow it from your personal bank account, if you're just using Excel or your notes or your bank statement, it just looks like incoming money. So your system that you're using just sees it the same as income, and it's going to tax it, and it shouldn't, because it's actually money from your bank account. Or let's say you had to get a PPP loan or the EIDL loan. That money should not be taxed. That money was yours to use and keep. So if you're just using like something that's just kind of straight up and down, it doesn't see all the ins and outs in the works in the background. Taking money out of your business, there are two very different reasons you may take money out. It may be to pay for expenses or contractors, or it may be to pay you. So if you pay yourself, it's totally different than if you pay for a business expense. And most business types, until you work out some stuff on the tax side, when you take money out to pay yourself, it's not a tax deduction. That doesn't lower your tax liability. And we'll talk about a way that you can do that by paying yourself. But just as a sole proprietor, single member LLC, or multiple member LLC, when you take money out to pay yourself, it's considered owner's draw, and it's not even seen on the profit and loss statement or financial statement at all. So you need to be able to identify what's what. It could be, a lot of you guys have storefronts and a lot of you guys sell products. So it could be that you're purchasing products to sell. So if you purchase a product to sell, that's totally different than if you pay for office software, or if you're purchasing machinery or some type of, like a desk or shelving for your store. That's seen totally different as well. So you have to make sure that you're using a system that allows you to properly identify. I like to call them buckets. You set up all these different buckets in your business, and you need a system that you like, that you work well with, to make sure that you're putting things in the proper buckets. All right, more about tracking your data. You want to start this right away. So as soon as you decide your business entity, as soon as you open your bank account, there's a little bit of a time constraint there, because when you open your business entity, you often will have to pay a fee for your license and to register with the state. And you don't have your business bank account set up yet, because you have to have your paperwork to show the bank that you opened the business. So you are going to use your personal bank account a little bit in the beginning. You want to make sure and track that, because those are deductible. All of those fees that you have to pay to the state, sometimes they make you pay. Well, again, this is another state. I don't think in South Carolina they make you pay an annual fee up front, but some states they do. So anything you're paying to the state, anything like if you are getting land, like maybe you had to put a down payment for the land, like all this beginning stages of stuff. Maybe you're purchasing a bunch of products beforehand. Go ahead from day one, open that bookkeeping system, and it's going to be beneficial to use it. You may be not utilizing all the different parts of it yet, but you want to keep track from the very start for multiple reasons. My favorite ones to recommend and use for clients, and it depends on the type of business, which one I recommend, but I like Wave Financial, QuickBooks Online, and Xero. QuickBooks Online is the most popular. It's the one that you've probably heard of. It is not the best choice for every business type. And I will say QuickBooks Self-Employed is not a good one to get. If you file with TurboTax, I know they give you a year of QuickBooks Self-Employed for free. But I'll explain more about the reasons in a minute when I tell you some of the basic bookkeeping skills that all of you guys are going to leave with here today. And you realize that there are some like necessary have to do skills QuickBooks Self-Employed limits you and doesn't let you do that in the system. So that's why it doesn't work. That's also the case with the free versions of FreshBooks and and.co, as well as like if you have Dubsado, HoneyBook, 17 Hats, things like that. Those are CRMs. Those are good for customer management. And there's probably others that you guys have heard of. And it has a little bit of financial tracking, but those are not bookkeeping systems. You need to make sure that it has a way to track all of your tax deductions and all that other stuff, money you put into the business, money that you pull out of the business, assets that you're purchasing, business loans, all of that stuff. You need to also make sure that it has a way to reconcile, which we'll talk about in a minute. And you also have to make sure that it has good reporting. So those are the three must-haves. QuickBooks Self-Employed does not have reconciliation, and it limits your buckets. It limits your categories. As well, FreshBooks and and.co, the free versions, they don't allow for money that you put into the business and money that you pull out of the business. They want you to say that that is like payroll or wages, and it's not for most people. It's owner's draw. So make sure that you use a system that's good and works for you. And none of these are super expensive. If you have a really large business that's already like beyond the 5 million mark, then you're going to want to use a different system than this. Like there are customized systems out there. These are ones that I recommend for businesses a couple million and below. Wave is a free app. It's a free system that you can use. The reason that the bulk of it is free is because they do have payment processing that you can add on. You don't pay to add it on, but you pay a fee if you run a credit card through, but it's actually very comparable to all the other systems. PayPal, Stripe, Square, everything else. I like to invoice through Wave. That's the one that I like to do with my business. QuickBooks Online, there's a couple of tier options. Right now, I think you could do $25 a month, $37, $50, $75. There's several different tiers. And then Xero, I think there's still two options. You can do $30 a month, or you can do like a $60 a month. Xero is a really good one to use if you have a lot of products that you sell in a lot of different places. So if you have Etsy, Shopify, Amazon, your own website, in person, all these different things, and sales tax is going to be applicable in multiple states. Because once you start getting on up there and once your business is really successful, you will start to have to pay sales tax in multiple states if you're selling your products everywhere. So Xero is a really good one because it integrates really good with the different third-party softwares that help with sales tax. And it integrates really well with Stripe, which is a payment processing system. It also integrates really well with different types of currency if you sell in multiple countries. And then QuickBooks Online, it has lots of capabilities. The biggest some cons with QuickBooks Online is it can get kind of glitchy and get kind of stuck. But a big pro with QuickBooks Online is it has tons of different types of reporting. So you can customize different reports that you need, and really helps for financial planning. But for smaller businesses, especially if you're just service-based and you don't have sales tax, Wave's a good one. Wave's a really good one. So that's my 2 cents on different tracking systems. And you want to track everything. Like I said, start right away, start from the very first day, track everything. If you're 5 years in, just make sure that you go back to January 1st, 2022 and track everything forward. There are ways that we can go back and pull like what your business is worth from 5 years ago to date. There's a lot of things you can do to figure that out, and you can plug that in and kind of catch yourself up. But at least you could start today, and it's better than nothing. Track every single thing, money in and out, no matter what the reason is. Even if you aren't 100% sure that it can be a deduction, you want to go ahead, if it's for your business, if it benefits your business, then go ahead and count it. Go ahead and count it, and you can worry about later if you need to have your personal bank account reimburse your business, or if you need to, can't count it because it's a personal expense. If it's something that you believe, that you truly believe is for your business, then go ahead and count it there. And then integrated systems, you want to choose, and this is kind of back up to the different options. You want to make sure that if you're using other systems, like pretty much all the systems you use, and I don't even know all the different systems you use. I bet every single one of you has probably 5 to 6 at least systems that you use for your payment processing, for tracking your merchant sales, for ordering your products, for keeping track of your inventory, for paying your vendors, like all these different systems that come into play in your business. They should be able to connect directly to your accounting system. So that's a negative for Wave. It doesn't connect directly really with anything anymore. It used to connect directly with PayPal, and they have discontinued that. So Wave is really for like the super small, super simple businesses. But most systems will connect with Xero and QuickBooks Online. So you want to think about that when you're choosing the system that you want to use. Okay, bookkeeping skills. How are we doing on time? All right, cool. And I did not actually look at the clock when I first started talking, so I don't know. But I think we're good. All right, bookkeeping skills. What kind of bookkeeping skills are we talking about? The 3 basic ones that I mentioned earlier. And that is tracking all of the income coming in, or all of the money coming in and out of your business, tracking it, setting up the different buckets. If you're using an accounting system, they call them categories. You have the main categories, which is assets, liabilities, income, expenses, and owner's equity. And then underneath all of those, you have all these lists down, which are the different categories. So if you think about it like buckets, you have all these choices and you're tracking everything in and out. You're putting it in the right buckets. That is called transaction categorization, or transaction coding, or tracking your data. It can be called lots of different things. In my business, I call it transaction categorization. The main reason that it's important that you do it and do it right is obviously for compliance. So you are doing things right, but to keep your taxes as low as they can be. Those different buckets, and this is something that I don't want to overwhelm you with this, but the different buckets can hold different weights, meaning different tax deductions are deductible at different rates. I think it's pretty common knowledge that meals is deductible at 50%, although in the last 2 years, business meals has been deductible. Some things have been deductible at 80% due to people having to work from home. But other categories are different rates as well. Not everything's 100%. Some things are 60%, 80%, 40%. And I wish that I could give you a list of what those percentages are. But unfortunately, that is something that is determined by your personal situation. With most of your business, well, with the sole proprietorship and the single member LLC, you're going to file those taxes with your personal taxes. So when determining percentages, it's going to be all commingled in with your personal information. So if you're expecting a larger refund just from your personal stuff, your business tax deductions are going to count for lower. If you are going to owe a lot of money on your personal stuff, like from your W-2 or unemployment or something like that, then your business tax deductions are going to count for a higher percent. And it's going to kind of even out. What they're trying to do is, if you're getting a large refund on the personal side, they don't want to duplicate it just because your business had a loss too. To be fair, they should. And you'll still get more refund, but they're going to count it for lower than they would if that makes sense. So what you want to do though is every day as you have money coming in and out, every week as you have money coming in and out, you're paying attention to what bucket you're putting it in. You're making sure it's accurate, yes, but you're also choosing the category that is going to have the best tax benefit to get you the lowest taxes. Accuracy and compliance. The main thing you can do here for accuracy and compliance is bank reconciliations. What is a bank reconciliation? You pull up your QuickBooks or your Wave or your Xero and you go to bank reconciliations and you pull up the time frame. I'm going to check January 1st through January 31st. So then you pull up your bank statement from January 1st through January 31st and you have them side by side. I mean, there's different steps to do, but like basically you have them side by side, you compare them and you just make sure they're the same. Your bank, 99.999% of the time, your bank is going to be accurate. Yes, banks can slip up. They can lose transactions every once in a while. If you didn't realize that, sorry to break that to you. But between your bookkeeping system and your bank account is what is accurate. So you want to make sure that your bookkeeping system matches. And if it does, you can feel 100% confident that those numbers are accurate. And if you've been categorizing and putting things in the right buckets, you can feel confident that everything is in the right place. So then, and I may be skipping ahead, and that's okay if I am. Then if everything is correct and everything's in the right place, that's when you're able to rely on your reports. That's when you're able to pull up your profit and loss statement or financial statement. Income statement is what it's called in Xero. Profit and loss statement is what it's called in pretty much all the other systems. They're all financial statements. So profit and loss statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement, anything that your tax person may ask for, anything that financial advisor may ask for, you can know 100% that those are accurate and you can rely on them for moving forward. And if you can rely on them, you can use them for planning. You can create your own budget. You can create your own financial projections. You can do all kinds of stuff with that data. I mean, honestly, if you have debt on the personal side, you can determine how much profit you can spare from the business to help you pay down the personal debt. But you can't, if you're not tracking this stuff, you can't just pull out hundreds of dollars whenever you want to, because you might need that for the business. So those are the reasons. And I think I did skip ahead. So the basic three, click, transaction categorization, and that's for tax deductions, bank reconciliations, ensures the accuracy, and the financial reports. Those are the basic three. And then, we offer some additional stuff, but for a lot of my smaller business clients, those are the three that we focus on, because that is what you can build on for everything else. My computer's sticking a little bit. All right, understanding taxes. How does tax knowledge fit in? Because in order to do the bookkeeping, you have to know how it's going to affect the reports. And because the reports are what is used to file the taxes. Profit and loss statement and the balance sheet, those are used directly to input to file your taxes. If you have a lot of inventory, or if you have a lot of machinery, or large items that you purchase in your business, and maybe you have depreciation schedules going on, that will also be used. But if you don't have depreciation schedules going on, then mostly you're just going to use those two reports. If you have payroll, if you have employees, that kind of stuff too. So anyway, the tax knowledge fits in because it's important. I mean, okay, I didn't plug this in, but let me tell you why I named my company Tax Savvy Pros. There's a disconnect between most bookkeepers and most tax professionals, or I'll say there's a disconnect between bookkeeping and tax prep, because the person who's a lot of times doing the bookkeeping, they don't have tax knowledge, but they're the ones, as I just discussed, they're the ones determining, using their own discretion, to put the transactions in the buckets, in the right categories. And they're not trained on taxes. So they're the ones building up the reports that, yes, maybe they have the correct numbers that match the bank account, but they don't have the correct, or they don't have the best categories. Okay, so they've used their discretion, and then the report is built on that, and you hand the report over to the tax preparer and they plug it in to file the taxes. So whether you are going to do your bookkeeping yourself or whether you're going to hire a bookkeeper, they need tax knowledge. They need to be tax savvy. So this is what I teach all of my students. You have to have a little bit of tax knowledge. Even if you have a bookkeeper, even if you have somebody doing this for you, you have to have a little bit of the knowledge yourself too, because ultimately it is your business. It's your account. You know, if one of your employees messes up and makes a client mad, that you're the one who has to apologize and make it right, right? So if your stuff gets filed, your taxes get filed, and something's wrong, you're the one who has to prove, you're the one who has to fix it, okay? So tax knowledge is vital, basically. Tax knowledge is vital for everyone involved from the very start. Also, you need to know what's not yours to keep. So if you were tracking your stuff weekly, monthly, and you see you have all this net income, like all this money left over, and you're like, oh yay, I can pull it out and I can spend it here and here and here. Yeah, you can, it's yours, but not all of it's yours to keep. Some of it is for the state, some of it's for the IRS. So it's good to know that up front, so you don't spend something that you're later going to regret that you didn't save it. Okay, so determining tax type, and I'm going to speed up here a little bit. Sole proprietorships and single member LLCs are disregarded entities, taxed the same way on a Schedule C. Multiple member LLCs and partnerships are taxed as a partnership. It is a separate business return. It's actually due March 15th instead of April 15th. And it is Form 1065. So you see, very different if you tack on your spouse. A corporation. Oh, does it say S Corp? It's blocked here. Well, first, let me say C Corp. Corporation, regular corporation is taxed as a corporation. It's double taxed. There are reasons that people choose to do that though, but it's just taxed as a corporation. So this is the little bonus one that they like to throw in. S Corp. What is an S Corp? First of all, an S Corp is not a business entity. An S Corp is just a tax election. So if somebody says, what type of business do you have? You have an LLC, sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation. Okay, cool. How are you taxed? And then you can say S Corp. It may not matter in some situations, but for tax purposes, it's important to say that you have an S Corp and to know whether it's built on a single member LLC, a multi-member LLC, or corporation. So you need to know that business entity first. So S Corps can be chosen whether from all of these, if you're any of these type of business entity, you can choose an S Corp except for sole proprietorships. So that's really the only difference on the tax side between a sole proprietorship and single member LLC. The sole proprietorship cannot choose to become an S Corp. All the others can. What does that mean? You are choosing to become an employee of your own business. You are choosing separation between yourself and your business on the tax side. There's a lot of parts to this. You put yourself on payroll as the owner. You start paying yourself on payroll, pay payroll taxes. But the benefit to that is you don't have to pay the extra self-employed tax rate. You're exempt from that. So you end up paying less a lot of times because of that. Also, what you pay yourself does become a tax deduction. You can also get a lot of different reimbursements and reimburse your personal life for a lot of things that you couldn't if you didn't have it. It is a separate tax return. It is filed separately from the personal stuff. It is due March 15th as well. It's called an 1120S. I did skip corporation. It's 1120. S Corp 1120S. There's a lot of ways where the filing is going to be similar between the S Corp and the C Corp, but there's a lot of ways that it's very different. I do not currently have any clients that are C Corps, but I do have several that are S Corps. No, it is not beneficial for everybody to become an S Corp. You have to be making enough revenue in your business that you could pull out money to pay yourself a comfortable amount and still be able to keep some in the business. The business needs to be able to have some profit left over. So basically, you have to prove that you're paying yourself like a reasonable wage and that the business is okay. Basically, you're not like zeroing out all the business funds by paying yourself. If you are, an S Corp's not the best thing. But otherwise, it is. So like if you are, let's say you're married, both of you work and you're doing good, or you're making good money, maybe you only have to make $25,000, $30,000 and you're comfortable. If that's the case, it might be good to go ahead and get an S Corp, but usually it's not going to be beneficial until your net income is closer to 60 to 80,000 or above. And then an S Corp is going to be a good choice. But again, this is something that you would want to talk with a tax person about your personal situation to determine. Okay, so quarterly estimated income taxes, and this is a whole training by itself. What are they? They are tax payments that you're paying ahead of time that are estimated in preparation for that tax season. So like for 2021, you would have been making the payments through 2021 and you'd be done by now. And so when you go to file your 2021 taxes, you would plug in, well, this is what I've already paid, and it would reduce the taxes owed. Who has to pay these? Anybody who has a business that is going to owe taxes on their business should be making these payments. What happens if you don't? You do get penalized. You do get a small fee. It's not large. A lot of people choose to just go ahead and get the fee. If you're going to owe a lot of taxes and you didn't make quarterly estimated payments, the fee can be a couple of thousand, but if you're only going to owe a couple of $1,000s in taxes, the fee will just be a couple of hundred. Why does IRS want you to make these payments throughout the year? Why can't you just make them once a year like everybody else does? That's a question that I get a lot. Well, if you think about it, W-2 employees, the IRS is getting their tax payments throughout the year as well. The employee is just not the one sending it. The employer is. So the IRS wants to get their payments throughout the year from everybody, business owners, employees, everybody. What happens is if you're a W-2 employee, it happens behind the scenes, and then you're just paying the difference, or you're getting a refund for the difference at the end of the year when you file the annual taxes. So when you own the business, you're having to, they want you to submit these quarterly. A lot of people submit them monthly. Honestly, any type of schedule you want to set up is fine. It doesn't have to be, they do have due dates, but it doesn't have to be right on the due date. The due dates are April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, and December 15th. No, the last one is January 15th. Those are the 4 quarters. But again, it doesn't have to be on those dates. That's just a really good way to plan so that you, are more consistent with it. Now, how do you determine how much you are going to owe? That's the hardest question, because that is very personal to each individual. And again, if you are sole proprietorship, single member LLC, even if you're the S Corp partnership corporation, it does kind of tie back to your personal. What tax bracket are you in? What state do you live in? We live in South Carolina. What other type of income do you have? Do you have dependents? Do you have other tax credits? Did you sell a home? Do you have bonds and IRAs? Did you pull any money out of it? So it's like it's tied to all the stuff in your life to help determine what tax percentage you have. It's going to usually be between 10 to 30%. That's really the lowest and the highest. And I've seen a range all the way through. If you want to know where you're at, and let's say you're in business, you were in business last year and you're making about the same amount of money as last year, and your personal situation is about the same as last year, you can look at last year's returns and it'll tell you the your marginal tax rate. And you could use that for this year. But it's going to change slightly because nothing stays the same year over year. So it's harder to determine the estimate. You can look up, the IRS has a very long math equation that you can use. You can also go online and plug in different calculators that people have. But really, it's best to talk to the tax person because they can help you work through the ifs and the whens and the buts and figure out the best way to take care of the estimated payments for you. Okay. And then annual filing, whether you do the quarterly or not, you have to still file annually. The idea, the whole goal is that it would be $0, hardly ever the case, but you do still have to file. Personal filings are April 15th unless they get extended. There's no real reason for them to get extended for 2021, so I don't think they will. And then the business ones, the business returns are due March 15th. You can file extension if you need more time. You do still need to make an estimated payment if you file an extension though. So like if you're not ready to file your taxes by April 15th, you can file an extension, but you do need to also send them some money. If you don't send them any money and you end up owing, they could penalize you. They could charge a fee on top of that. So it's really best to work with a tax professional, throughout all this stuff, but especially with the quarterly estimates in the annual filing and determining the tax types. So in review, we talked about setting up the business entities. We talked about opening a bank account, tracking your data in a bookkeeping system. The skills that I taught you I taught you how to do a bank reconciliation. You pull up the date range in your system, you pull up the bank statement, you compare the two, check them off if they match, and you're done. So now you know how to do a bank reconciliation. You know how to track your data because you know that there's lots of different buckets and you're going to put it in the correct bucket. So those are bookkeeping skills that you know. You understand how taxes work and will affect the business. How they will affect the business, you don't know the exact money amount, but you know that certain things, how you can get a better result along the way. How to save tax dollars, it's all with the tracking. How to ensure compliance, it is with the accuracy and reconciliations, making sure that you're following all the state and federal rules, and then how to set yourself up for financial success and growth. It really starts from the first step, and it's really putting all of this stuff in place. If you don't trust your reports, you can't set up a budget, you can't set up financial projections, you can't plan for future stuff in your business. I mean, you can plan for it, but you can't plug in tangible, real numbers to go off of to make your decisions, and you need that. So thank you guys so much for hanging with me. I have no idea if you are glassy-eyed or if you've fallen asleep or how you guys are feeling, but I thank you so, so much. So what I wanted to do is I did want to offer you guys 25% off of my services. And I'll tell you, I didn't really explain why I'm in this group. So why am I in this group? I consider my services taking a holistic approach, not necessarily in the same way that you guys do by treating the whole body and mind and spirit and everything like that and soul, but I treat the business and the personal. It's all together. I work with very small and new business owners. I work with people just getting started. I work with people who've been in business for a couple of years, but are just passionate about what they do and serving their clients. All of us are people. All of us are individuals. It baffles me that everybody doesn't take this approach, but I treat the business and the personal. I end up doing a lot of coaching in my sessions as well, some mindset coaching. because making financial decisions is scary. Making sure that you're following the rules is scary. So I treat the whole person, I guess, on the business side and the personal side, the whole tax situation, because it's completely combined. Also, I'm into all the stuff that you guys are into. I am leaning into my intuition. I'm really listening to, I'm a huge empath, and that actually is a little bit of a detriment sometimes on the business side, because I get emotionally involved in what's going on with the client. So I'm working on, some cord cutting on that. I have a cord cutting meditation I need to go through for one of my clients that's going through divorce. Like, I just started crying about it. And anyway, so I'm all about working with the individual and making their lives better. And even if, and this is not fun, but even if the right decision is to close the business, if it's losing money, I help people through that. I've helped coach someone through that. And I helped her, realize that she's not a failure. And so she was actually able to start a business up again, a second business, a different business. She, during quarantine, she lost everything and she wanted to hold on. And so we walked through that together. So even the stuff that's going to cost me a client, I care about the individual. So anyways, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm with you guys, why I'm not in another chapter of the chamber, because this one really spoke to me. And I'm learning all about my, soul contract here on earth and who I want to serve and everything like that. And you guys are who I want to serve. So 25% off on my services in any way that I can help you for chamber members. And I did a little code here. That doesn't really matter because you can email me. And if I know that you're from the chamber, then I'll honor this. But I do monthly bookkeeping. So all that stuff we talked about here, all the stuff we talked about here, I do. Even the business entities, helping you choose the best one for you, opening that for you, tracking all the data, tax deductions, advisory and tax strategy. And this may sound, for some people, it may sound like that's a little bit more than I even care about doing right now, but it's really just answering any questions that come up and helping you make any decisions that you need to make along the way. And then tax prep and file. My firm does prepare and file income taxes. You may be completely squared away for 2021. If you are not, feel free to reach out to me and I can take care of you and we can make sure that you're getting the best tax deductions. So 25% off of my services. And I didn't, so code 20, like take a picture of it if you want to keep up with it, or I'm going to give you my email too, so you can reach out to me. Let's stay in touch either way though. I have a free Facebook group that I give free trainings all the time like this, and additional bookkeeping stuff. We've gone over 1099s a lot. We go over quarterly taxes all the time. My Facebook group is Tax Savvy Pros for bookkeepers and business owners. If you find me on Facebook, I can send you a link to the group, or if you email me, I can send you a link to the group. I know the name is a little long, but that's how you'll find out. I have a tax workshop coming up, a free tax workshop. That's where you can find out more about that, is my Facebook group. It's kind of my hub where I invite everybody to come to. My website, if you're interested in, I have courses to learn all this stuff yourself. If you're interested in learning yourself, or you're interested in working with me working for you, this is my website, taxsavvypros.com. And then this is my email, hello@taxsavvypros.com. And I think I did provide the slides to Javon, so you'll have all this information on the slides as well. And I have a copy of all the notes that I did tonight, all the stuff I covered. And I would just love to stay in touch with all of you, learn more about your businesses. Every single person that spoke was like, oh my gosh, I need to write that down. I didn't know I would need something like that, but it all just sounds wonderful and amazing. So I thank you for having me. I thank you for staying tuned. And I'm going to stop the share. Cool. So I see some questions, but Javon, do you want me to just answer questions, or what? How would you like to proceed? She may have written it over here too. So let me go ahead and pull up the questions and the comments. It's probably not all questions.
You can go ahead and answer any questions if everyone is still okay with time, because we want to honor everyone's time because our meeting does end at 8, but I also know that this is all good stuff that we all need. So if you guys are here, I'm here.
Okay, cool. And I'll be quick.
Okay.
Okay. If anyone has a system like what she spoke of, I would love to hear what it is. So yeah, any bookkeeping or accounting system that you use that maybe I didn't talk about, feel free to mention it if you want to know. And, you know, I hadn't heard of all of them. I haven't like done extensive research on all of the different options. So there may be ones that are specific to your industry. Whether I should file all together or separate. Cool. Happy to know I'm on track. Yeah. And whether to file your business with your personal is like, honestly, not a decision that you get to make. It's like you either file it together or you file it separate. There are rules. So the sole proprietorship, single member LLC, you have to file it together. You can't separate it even if you want to. The partnership, S Corp, and corporations, you have to file them separate. You can't file them together even if you want to. You can file them the same day. You just have to file them like separate returns. Yeah, paying quarterly or yeah. And how I say, if you think your business is going to owe at least $1,000 at the end of the year, then you should plan to make quarterly payments. And maybe you start the beginning of the year and you're not very profitable, and you get to like June or July and you're like, well, I'm actually doing pretty good, but I haven't made any estimated payments yet. Totally fine. You can start whenever. You want to make sure that you do it before January 31st. For example, 2021, you would have needed to do it before January 31st. So sorry if you missed that. But they won't, you could maybe still mail it in if you wanted to send an estimated payment. But at this point, I would probably not worry about 2021 stuff and just plan for doing quarterly for 2022. Oh, yeah, not worrying about getting audited by the IRS treats your mind, body, and soul. Totally. I mean, you know, we're all business owners, so I am sure that you all deal with this, all the mind junk, especially I think that this group is aware. That is maybe a big difference between this group, this chamber versus, you know, a different chapter that is like all business. It's that we're aware of the mind junk, and we're aware that we have to work on it and treat it, and that comes into play, and that's how we grow. So yeah, all of this stuff, I think it all just kind of jives together. Yeah, someone on your team, that is really what it is. Someone that is cheering for you, that cares about your success. And honestly, we do a better job with the books if we know what's going on in your personal life. Are you going on a vacation with your family for a week? Cool. That's why we're not seeing sales coming in that week, or that's why we're not seeing certain stuff. So it's good to know everything that's going on. Yeah, I love my group. I love doing trainings in there. It's a really fun place. It's a safe space. That's something that I'll say. It is a safe space. There are a lot of places where people can go to ask bookkeeping and tax questions and will feel like maybe they're getting attacked, or maybe they're just getting like vultures coming at them to sell them a bunch of stuff. But I keep my group very, very safe, very respectful, and it's a great place to come and just feel supported as you grow in all areas of your business too. So I would love to have you guys there. Let's see, LLC, the LLC, if say we have a holding company, is that filing jointly? I would have to have more information about it, Mary, but you can feel free to reach out and ask me. We can talk about that separately. And it depends on like if you have a business other than that, or like how many business entities you have. Because if you have multiple businesses, there is strategy in how you structure all of them. And there's ways that we can make sure that everything gets the best tax results. I was getting harassed by accountant.com. Yeah. And there's a lot of them. And, a lot of the bookkeeping systems too, they are now offering bookkeeping services as well. So they're in competition with us, which stinks that they did that, but they're not always the best option to work with because they're not a computer. They are a person, but again, they don't have like that tax knowledge. They're not tax savvy. So anyway, I've really enjoyed talking to you guys. Sorry, I was super long-winded, but I hope that it was helpful. But I am done. Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I understand I understand having someone to keep our books and to mind the finances and all of that stuff and like why it's important, but realistically, because we are holistic, but we also live in the real world. For new businesses or, and if you covered this, I apologize, but for new businesses or businesses that aren't making like a huge profit right away, is it something where like we need to have, say, your company on the payroll, or is it just more of like a consulting basis, answer a few questions, that sort of thing? Because I think in talking to business owners that I find is that we don't think we need certain things at this stage in the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. And that's why I was a lot of this teaching you, like you are going to be doing this, because whether you do for a while or you hire somebody, you need to know it. But also, like my firm does have options of working with people at a lower capacity so that we're available. I've called it different things at different times, but my current package, it's like we're available to answer questions, unlimited throughout the month via email. We take care of all the taxes, all the quarterly tax filing, all the annual tax filing, sales tax included, use tax, any of that. You are given 3 sessions with our tax strategist. I have a tax strategist that knows even more than me that I have employed on my team. And so you get 3 like video calls with her at any time. So anyway, it's a package where you're still kind of keeping track and you're doing your bookkeeping yourself, but you have a professional kind of in your pocket for all of the tax stuff that comes up, any big decisions you need to make. And then even lower than that, I do offer like one-time consults. A lot of this stuff, yes, you need to discuss it with an accountant, but yeah, some of it could just be an hour and you get a lot of stuff worked out and then you have a plan in place. So it doesn't have to be paying somebody, I don't know. Most of my packages are just a couple of $100 a month, but it doesn't have to be paying someone thousands of dollars. And with my packages, the way that I try to price them, I try to ensure that I would pay for myself in tax savings, if that makes sense. So I judge it off of the revenue that you're at, and then I price my monthly services knowing that I will get you, that amount times 12, at least that amount back in savings. So that's what I try to do for people, because I get it. I mean, we all start at 0. So.
Thank you for answering that.
Yes. Absolutely. Anybody else have any questions? And you can reach out to me and ask me anything. I'll let you know if it's something I'm like, well, I would have to charge you to go through this with you. I'll be transparent with you, but a lot of things, it's a quick answer that we can do. Well, if that's it, then I've just really enjoyed you guys.
Thank you so much, Megan. I know that this was a lot to take in. I know my head is spinning just when you talk about finances. So like she said, guys, if after this you have any questions and you're looking back at your notes, definitely reach out, because we love what we do. We love to share the medicine. We love to be able to heal the world, but we can't heal the world if we're worrying about bills and taxes and finances and how we're going to be able to afford everything. So definitely reach out to Megan. Join her Facebook group. I'm a member of the Facebook group, and I've asked a couple questions in there that have been very beneficial for my business. Definitely take advantage of all that she has to offer.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I am going to reclaim being the host. All right. I want to, again, thank you all for joining us tonight. If you have enjoyed this and you want more of it, definitely we invite you to come back. We have meetings every second Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. The beautiful thing about how we're forming this chapter is that we want to not only have topics that benefit you professionally and in your business, but also topics that, you know, benefit you mind, body, and spirit. So like last month, Janine Anderson did an amazing presentation on, you know, creating your garden of bliss. We have finances this month, and the next month we're going to be talking about mental health. So definitely join in. Our virtual sessions are always recorded. And then in person, you know, you get any notes or slides or whatever that is presented at this time. For any of the guests that are here, we invite you to take a look at the chamber, Growing Your Business with Us. We are still a fairly new chapter. We've only been in existence for 8 months, but it's a beautiful opportunity to grow with us. You know, like I said, because we're such a close-knit group right now, we're really able to take all of your suggestions and build our chapter as we build your businesses as well. Some of the benefits of membership include promoting your business. With the online presence, you get to add your business to the International Online Directory for the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. Anytime you have events, they will push it out to their entire email list, which is, I'm not even going to lie about the number, but I think the last time it was like maybe 20,000, I think I saw. And then, of course, you know, social media, their pages, all of that stuff. Not only that, but being a member of this professional organization will set you up as an expert online. You get to showcase on your website that you are a member of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. We've been in existence for over 12 years at this point. So, you know, they're kind of making an impact in the industry. There's business growth opportunities. You get to grow your business by speaking at our local meetings. If there's any time that you want to share in other chapters, say, for example, there's a chapter over in California, they're looking for a virtual speaker. As a member, you can present to that chapter as well. So you're not only limited to speaking at our local chapter, but you can present yourself, your businesses, and your services to all of the chapters across the entire organization. Okay, we have membership discounts. And then, of course, the networking piece, you know, getting to connect with other holistic businesses and entrepreneurs. We're definitely going to be doing more in-person events, starting with a meet and greet in the month of March. So I'm really excited about that. And just to come out and, you know, share with other, and I don't really like using this term, but other like-minded individuals who not only want to grow their business, but who want to do it from a place of integrity, a place of holistic wellness, a place that feels good to them, mind, body, and spirit. So if membership sounds like something that you're interested in, we would love to have you. Feel free to reach out to me. You can call Hidden Jewel Wellness Boutique at 843-945-9413. send us an email at myrtlebeach@holisticchamberofcommerce.com. And of course, join us at the meetings. Now, I will say this, guests are permitted to attend 2 meetings before membership is required. That's headquarters rule, not mine. So you get to enjoy 2 meetings. And then, but realistically, if you've come to 2 meetings, that means that we have something that you're enjoying. And so go ahead and become a member so you can get the most benefits from this chapter. All right. Are there any announcements that anyone would like to share? Anything that you have coming up in your business that you can share quickly before we adjourn this meeting? Nope, no one has anything coming up. All right, well, thank you all so much. It has been a pleasure. And we will see you next month at our monthly meeting. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this month's chapter meeting. To learn more about the Myrtle Beach chapter of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, or to find out how you can become a guest speaker at one of our upcoming meetings, send us an email to myrtlebeach@holisticchamberofcommerce.com. And as always, be well, Myrtle Beach.